about the DT's Irish, and today I'm going to talk about 10 things that Civ 6 did that basically improved the formula over 5. Now, first of all, I want to say I've played about 7-8 hours of Civ 6 so far, and I've been very impressed with the way they've basically fixed the vast majority of things that were wrong with 5. And they've really done a good job of paying attention to the community and realizing like the flaws of 5. Now, obviously, this isn't going to cover everything. This is just like a 10 list, 10 things I thought about. But this will help you kind of get a better idea as to why I prefer Civ 6 over 5 and why 5 is basically already uninstalled. Again, not because it's a bad game, but because 6 is just better. It's just better in every way, and Civ 6 has made 5 obsolete in my eyes. There's very little to say to argue for 5 now that 6 is out. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, number 1, horse archers aren't as overbearing. I mean, this is not that big of a thing necessarily for everybody who didn't play it at a really high level, but for people who did, a lot of the main strategies were playing with, like, people like Arabia and all these other, horse units, ranged horse units, and just wailing on others from really, moving, hitting, and running. I know you could go with Genghis Khan and, keep the fight up till, like, World War I with, his medieval horse archers. So now they have to move in close and, hit people from real close before they do anything. They can't just become these monstrosities that whittle everybody down, like, up to, like, the industrial era. So that's a nice thing. I think that's a plus. I actually played with my first game with Scythia, and I was shocked to see that the horse archers only hit you from point blank. But again, it makes sense because you don't want them to be overbearing. So for me, I think that's fine. Meaningful turns. Yeah, so the turns always feel like I'm doing more interesting stuff. I get to change my policies here and there quite often, to fit the situation, which is great, whenever I discover a new civic. There just seems to be a lot more going on every turn. Whether it's between, dealing with city-states, which is a very active system now. I always felt like there was more happening. It was more interesting, so I'm definitely enjoying the turns far more than I used to. There's a lot more to look at, whether it's between the great person points or things like that. There's just a lot of positives, and a lot more like how should I say? Yeah, a lot more interesting things to do. In 5, it was a lot of like hit and turn, kind of scenarios. In Civ 6, I haven't run into too many of those so far. A lot of the times I've had something to do that's been kind of interesting. Whether it's planning ahead or thinking about what I'm doing. I'm thinking a lot more about what I'm doing, especially when messing with the districts. So I find that to be wonderful. I have to plan ahead a little bit. I have to keep my mind on. I'm not just like blindly just clicking away, like, like a zombie. So it's fairly wonderful, to be honest. I'm a big fan of that. Loading times. Oh, this is a big one. It's a lot faster to load Civ 6 than it is to load 5. I'm really happy with that. Now, I don't know if this applies to turn times. I don't think the turn times are overbearing, but I don't know if they're different. I haven't really paid attention. They haven't been noticeably different. Cities are not fortresses anymore. Yeah, this is my favorite, and I mean this in a way that before they were, I guess this is not the wrong way to say this, but they're basically not gonna like be one-shotting your units and just be able to defend themselves easily. Like, they have to actually have some support. You have to build an encampment if you really want them to become tough. You have to have some units, otherwise the city can't do much to defend itself. I feel like the cities, although they feel like they have a little bit more HP, but once you whittle down their armor, that HP goes right down. So they take a little bit longer to kill, so in that way I guess they're a little bit more like a fortress, but they can't really defend themselves. So they're more like a something that you can attack and that will go down eventually, as opposed to something that you can kind of attack brutally quickly, but you'll take a massive amount of damage. So I think that they're more reasonable in how they're portrayed in this game, and I like that so much more. I was so tired of walking into choke points or situations in which a city could one-shot your units. I thought that was really silly and unfair that like a city could defend itself so effectively against units just by being there. So I'm really glad that cities have been. I'd say overall they're weaker, definitely, and they have to be actually considered in terms of like defend. They have to be defended. AI have a clear purpose. You can see their agendas, and that's a lot nicer. Civ 6 AI was really cryptic and strange, and you knew that eventually they were just kind of going to attack you, unless you had like a really strong military. So they weren't really like, they didn't seem logical. You literally have to go on the forums to find out what the heck the AI was doing. And in this case, it's very clear, and it's communicated to you, and I really appreciate that. Vanilla game is complete. That's just the truth. The spying system there, there's a religion system there, and it's on par with 5. The religion system, if anything, it's a little bit more interesting. It's a little bit better. It's a lot more clear. There's so many things that are just done better in 6. So you could think of it again as like Civ 5 2.0. But it does change a lot, though. Like, you can think of it as Civ 5 2.0, but it is a very different game. Again, it's a very complete game. Everything's in there already. There's more added to it. Yeah, it's almost like if Brave New World got a second expansion after that. It's really chock full of stuff to work through. That doesn't mean there isn't space for more, but I haven't really gotten to that point where I'm like thinking about what else they could be adding right now. A lot of my experience has been the first 100 turns. Yeah, so I'm really happy with how much they've delivered. Yeah, building cities is interesting. So yeah, that's again the thing that every turn is actually interesting. Big fan of that. Placing your districts is important. You have to kind of plan ahead. I was just playing a game yesterday where I didn't really plan too far ahead, and I didn't manage to get like a religion. So yeah, you have to think and take an active role in what you do. And in Civ 5 it was a little passive, and 6 really makes it so you have to focus yourself and like plan on like your great person points for religion, or you have to plan on like what you're going to build and when you're going to build it to like get to a wonder, stuff like that. It's done a really good job of that, and I think I'm pretty happy with it. Yeah, so this is my favorite part. Like, yeah, Civ 6 Warfare is actually a lot better. Some people might feel like it's a bit grindy, but I don't think units do that little damage to that point. And honestly, I don't like the whole like one-shot simulator of Civ 5. I don't think that's fun. I don't think it's like, oh, you should one-shot my unit and I'll one-shot your unit, and that's just silly. Like, I don't like that. I don't think that's interesting. I think this like kind of grindy warfare, like slightly grindy warfare, is a lot better. If you have less troops, you'll slowly get pushed back. You won't take like major casualties, but you'll be like hurt enough that like your opponent will get more and more of an advantage over you. So yeah, there's the bum rushing is not as effective because units don't just get straight out killed, but you'll still get a major advantage, which is good enough to like to be effective. So I definitely like Warfare a lot more this time around. Yeah, approachable yet very different. Yeah, Civ 6 is it seems very easy to get into. They've got the friendly characters. They've got the graphics that everybody hated at the beginning, including myself. I didn't like it right when I saw it there early on, but got used to it later. And it's it's easy to see how like people could see this game and be like, oh, I think I could play this game. Like, it looks like it's you can play it on like a basic level and be all right. But it's very different from 5. You've got a lot more planning to do. You've got a lot more thinking to do. And I think that'll remain that way throughout the game just because of how it's designed with the district system and other things like inspirations. You're constantly thinking, okay, I gotta get this inspiration. Like, I can get farther here. Like, you can really plan ahead, and I love that. The inspirations add to the planning of the game. I thought they were just like a funny little trinket, but they really do add to the way you want to play the game, the way you want to think about the game. Now, of course, sometimes you trigger them by accident. happens. But once you learn a little bit about how they work, start making a lot more sense. And a lot of the inspirations, especially early on, seem like a huge deal, but they're not like, I don't believe they're necessarily game breaking because they a lot of those texts don't take that long to research. I have more things I could add to this list, by the way, that I keep coming up with. City-states are interesting. So you have the suzerain bonuses. You have city-states, which you have to send envoys to. You do quests and then you get more envoys. It's not like a gold sink. I think that it's a lot more fun to be playing with these and interacting with them in a way that people can't just suddenly take them from you unless they have like extra envoys. So you have to plan ahead again, which is fantastic. A couple more things of note that I'd like to add is, number one, barbarians are awesome. They are very aggressive. It's like playing on raging barbarians or something, or even worse. And depending on your difficulty level, of course. If you're playing on king, they're not that bad, but they're definitely a lot stronger than on Civ V. If you're playing on emperor, I got attacked by some serious stuff. I was shocked. So you have to take an active role in dealing with the barbarians. They're a force that you have to contend with constantly, and I love it. I love being like pushed to my limit when I'm playing. I thought that one thing that was always lame about 5 was barbarians were always just a pushover. They were never really interesting. And here, they may not have gone as far as I wish they would. I wish they would go even farther and give them like more personality, give them, make them different, give them different tribes. But I still love what they've done with it. And they're a lot more interactive, which is what you want in this kind of game. You don't want to be like automatically just playing the game. I think there were a couple more things I wanted to mention, but I can't really think about them right now. Yeah. Either way, Civ 6 has really impressed me. I'm very happy with it, and I think I will remain so because it just feels like they listened to 90 to 95% of the stuff we wanted changed/improved from 5 to 6, and they've done that. The game is not about stacking bonuses anymore. It's about thinking and planning ahead. It's about, cautiously thinking about what you're going to be doing, where you're going to be in 10 turns, where you're going to be in 15 turns. I think that's fantastic, and I really enjoy it. The district system has really changed everything, and they were not underselling it. It really does make things very interesting. So yeah, that's about all I have for you guys today. I may mention more things later, but yeah, that's my thoughts on Civ 6. If you don't have it yet, if you're worried about it or whatever, and if you've liked Civ 5, go out and get it because it's fantastic. If you've played 4, I can't really speak to what you would think about it. I don't really know how people who play 4 like it. Some do, some I don't know. But if you've played 5 and you liked 5, 6 is going to say, hey, uninstall 5 and play me for the rest of your life, because it's a hell of a lot better than 5. So have a great one, guys, and I'll see you next time.